Good Monday makers, and welcome back to another episode of Maker Pipe Monday. This is our weekly build showcase series where we round up projects from the community. We've got 5 great ones to look at today. Let's jump right into them. First up, we've got this great, actually 2 builds from Anne. The first one is a cage that she built for her garden. And she said what started out as a simple, she just wanted to make an enclosure, turned into a build that, as you can see, has gates on it so she can easily access the plants or close them up and keep them protected. And she actually made it to where it can be easily expanded, where if she extends her garden, she can extend and add more parts and pipes to it to actually extend it, which is a great idea and a great way to kind of plan ahead for a future garden expansion. You can see she used 90-degree connectors in the corners to kind of create the box shape, and then she used T connectors to build the gates. And it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, she did just the simple hinge hack where you remove the friction bands off the T connectors and they clamp on the pipe just enough to where they will actually let you hinge and still stay connected to the pipe. So that's a great and simple hinge. And she had another build. She said she used to have, I think, half-inch EMT on this kind of hoop, call it a hoop house enclosure on her garden here, and she said that it actually collapsed a while ago, but she was able to reuse the half-inch EMT with the shims and the maker pipe. It looks like she has T connectors connecting the kind of arches here, and they go up and connect to, it looks like 180 degrees, and I think that same design goes all the way down. It seems like that's a really popular way to do hoop houses. We saw that in another build last week. That's two great builds from Anne. We're glad everything's working out for you. She left a great review, and we really appreciate it. Next up is a build from Will, and they said they built this for their church. They needed a camera tower, but the ones that you can buy are pretty expensive, so they wanted to DIY it, and they did a great job. So you can see they have this fold-up table here, and they built the frame to where it kind of slides over top of that table, and they've got 4 90-degree connectors here at the base to secure it. They've got rubber pipe feet on the bottom, which is a great thing to do for indoor builds. It'll protect your floors and still give you a nice base. It also keeps it from sliding because they're rubber, so that's also good. We've got another, looks like 4 90-degree connectors up here for the second tier, and then from there they actually built the tower. They used 4 T connectors to go vertical, and then they used 90-degree connectors to just keep making and keeping the square shape all the way up. And then here you can see they have a pretty large camera mount, most likely using a nice cinema camera or bigger camera, so they have a nice sturdy heavy-duty camera mount there. That's a great build. We're glad it is working out for you. They said they saved some money and it was fun, so that's awesome. Thanks so much, Will, for sharing that. Next up is a story from Javier. He shared a ton in the community. He does all kinds of cool things. He does production for different oils and different fruits and things, and he said recently he built a very simple morning build, and it was just a roof with a greenhouse plastic to dry out mango seeds. And he said he can adjust the angle of the height and the roof, and it works well. He said he used T connectors for the cross pipes, and it looks like a T connector on that corner and a 180 here. And then he used some crossover clamps to actually make the adjustable height. So you can just undo those, loosen them a little bit, and then lower or raise that. But he said a big storm came through, and that simple build didn't hold up very well. Well, it held up, but it actually didn't keep the mango seeds dry. So he had to come up with an emergency build, and he did this drying rack for the mango seeds. And it's great. He put it on wheels so you can move it around easier. And he did a really simple frame with T connectors. Let's see, there's a wide shot here. T connectors in the corners, and he reused those crossover clamps for the verticals and did long spans of pipe. And then he zip tied this netting here. Not sure what kind of netting, but as you can see, it's got a bunch of holes in it, which is good because you can drip dry the mango seeds and they're just kind of hanging in there. And then he also draped greenhouse plastic over top of it. So when the sun comes through, that'll help dry everything out. But he said it worked great. Now everything is able to be dried out after this big rainstorm came through. So that's really cool. We're glad everything worked out for you, Javier. Thanks so much for sharing your projects in the community. We love seeing them. Next up is a Christmas Day build from Dana. They said they made adjustable shelving with Pro T connectors and 1-inch EMT conduit. They said they're going to share more details soon, which we're excited to see. We'll go over what they've shared so far, which is a great framework for shelving here using the 1-inch EMT conduit and Pro T connectors. Looks like we sell them in silver, but it looks like they painted them and made a really simple adjustable shelving system. I like the way they mounted these shelves. They've got one bar going across, and then they're using one T connector with a pipe coming out of it to just add a stable connection for the shelving. And I'm really curious to see how they do the adjustable part of it. I would imagine it's just as simple as moving or sliding down the T connectors underneath each shelf, higher or lower based on where they want the dimensions to be. but I'm really curious to see this. So they're going to share some details, which will be really great. And it looks like at the top here, they've got flanges mounted to the top shelf that goes all the way across. And they probably use one of the flange methods that we mentioned in the flange roundup video, which is linked down below if you want more information. They built these really great shelves. They actually drilled through the shelves here. It looks like all the way from the bottom to the top, the pipes are going straight through the shelves, which is another great technique. Keeps everything secured and keeps them from moving. That actually made it where they didn't have to use one-hole straps to secure the wood to the pipes because it'll stay solid there. And even if they move it up or down, they won't have to adjust the one-hole straps or anything, which is a really great technique. Beautiful shelving. I love the stain that they use, and it's really great. We love seeing that. Glad it worked out for you, Dana. Definitely share the details. We can't wait to hear more about it. Next up is from Jason, or Hank the Tank 724 on Instagram. He's doing a really cool Honda Element van life conversion. Apparently these are a really good platform for converting to a camper because they have a huge, as you can see, a huge area in the back there that if you utilize the space, you can actually use them for camping, which is really cool. And that's exactly what Jason is doing. He wanted to make a bed, I believe it's a bed frame that also doubles as a storage drawer under here, which we'll look at. So this was kind of the base frame that he shared. He used 90-degree connectors in the corners and then 180-degree connectors for the bottom. And you can see this is kind of the base layer of the frame that he made. And then he shared this really great drawer hack. So these are bushings that you can put inside of empty conduit. They work similarly to the tube inserts. He said they expand once they get inside of the conduit. And then he put eye hooks through there. And this allowed him to make a DIY drawer that actually mounts to the conduit frame. So he shared this Instagram video as well as a post in the community, which you can see here with some of the parts listed. They'll both be linked down below if you want to check them out. But he took that and then he built this, added on to the frame. So as you can see, the frame slides out, and then he also has a hinge where he can hinge it out and really utilize the space. So it hinges, flips over, and then pulls out, and then can be stored that way. And he's doing really cool stuff. And then here it is with plywood on top. And you can see how he mounted it using one-hole straps. And I believe this is the actual drawer that hinges in and out. So using that method we just looked at, it goes up and down the conduit really easily, and it's a great drawer method. And here it is pulled all the way out. And I talked to him over the weekend. He said it's working great. He's got to make a couple of changes. I think he's got to shave some of the length off, just having some issues with it rubbing. But other than that, he said it's working great, which is really cool. I'm excited to see more about this build and see more of this conversion because he's doing some really clever stuff. That's all the builds I have for you this week. I hope you enjoyed them as much as I did. We love doing this, so keep sharing your builds in the community, on social media, through email. Any way that you can share them, we definitely want to see them, so keep doing that. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.